I would like to share with you why I became an ear surgeon. But first, close your eyes if you like. Imagine you're laying on your back in the grass next to a forest, gazing up at the blue sky. It's pleasantly warm. The leaves of a tree rustle in the wind, and the air is filled with the smell of freshly cut grass. Occasionally, a cloud drifts by. One, shaped like a dragon, covers the sun, and you can feel the chill of its shadow. You may open your eyes again. Isn't it fascinating? I talk to you and you understand me. I string together a sequence of sounds and an image appears in your head. Maybe even the memory of a sound, a smell, the sensation of temperature. That's the power of language. At some point in our life, we learn spoken language. The process starts with listening, probably even before we are born. At some time, we start to make sense of these words and develop understanding. Speaking only starts at least half a year later. But it seems to develop spoken language, we need hearing. We need a functioning ear. But not everyone can hear. Some people lose their hearing during life, others are born deaf. 1 in 1,000 newborns have no hearing at birth. These are around 80 children in Switzerland every year. My brother was one of them. It wasn't immediately apparent because he was crying like normal hearing infants. Crying is a reflex that does not depend on hearing. He also started to make some first sounds like mama or baba. This first stage of speech development doesn't depend on hearing either. It was only when his spoken language failed to develop further that my parents realized something was wrong. They went to see a pediatrician, but they were refused. They went to another one, the same happened again. A third one, the same. Only at the age of 2, my brother's hearing loss was diagnosed and he received hearing aids. No, these white earphones aren't an early Apple product. They are connected to a rather large hearing aid worn in a pocket on his chest. Thankfully, technology has advanced since, and hearing aids have become much smaller. But this device allowed at least a basic stimulation of his ears. The ear, it's a marvel of nature. It consists of 3 parts. The outer ear with the ear canal and the eardrum. The middle ear with 3 little bones that transmit the vibration of the eardrum to the inner ear. And the inner ear itself, the cochlea, that contains little receptors. We call them hair cells. These receptors transform mechanical energy into an electrical signal, and this electrical signal is then transmitted via nerve cells to a dedicated area in the brain where it is processed. This is how nerve cells look like in the brain. In the first 2 years of our life, they build numerous connections. But if these connections are not used, they regress. Because our brain, our nerve cells need a lot of energy, and our brain is exceptionally energy efficient. We don't know exactly what happened to the nerve cells dedicated to hearing in my brother's brain. It's a bit difficult to have a look. But they were not stimulated for 2 years. So the brain may have started dismantling this connection and even the nerve cells. And the areas in the brain responsible to process this acoustic information may have already started being repurposed for other tasks. My parents were told that without hearing, normal language acquisition is not possible. their child would need to learn an alternative language, sign language, a language that makes school attendance, education, and socialization in the hearing world extremely difficult. At that time, people who are different were often excluded from normal society and put away into institutions. My parents had a different point of view. They found a school where spoken language could be learned with the help of other senses. For example, vision. My brother learned lip reading or vibration. If we talk, our neck vibrates, and this vibration can be felt by the child and then compared to the vibration of the teacher's neck. And then the sound can be adapted until the vibration match. Learning a language like this certainly requires more intensive training. And some doubts arose about whether all the effort would succeed. Some teacher of the School of Deaf told my parents they would return, begging them to teach my brother sign language. Over time, my brother started to make some first sounds and speak some first words. I was the first to understand him, translating what he was saying to my parents and later to the other kids on the playground. I became his connection to the hearing world, helping him breaking the silence. We could also communicate silently. The mouth movements were sufficient. The sound was just an addition. Usually it's the reverse. All the determination, the effort paid off, and normal school attendance became possible. However, his placement was evaluated every year because inclusion wasn't a big concept at that time in education. But it worked. Year after year, my brother could finish schooling and attend university. But some challenges remained very difficult to overcome. For example, watching TV. Because many movies are filmed in English and then dubbed into German, lip reading becomes impossible if the mouth movements don't match the audio. And the background noise, the background music doesn't help. Subtitles were of great help, but they were only rarely available at that time. I would translate, I would summarize story plots, and we both were happy if there was not too much conversation in the movies. Talking on the phone was another challenge. I was sitting next to my brother for years, translating what the other person on the phone was saying, using our secret language of mouth movements. But then, a new technology became available. The cochlear implant. The most successful neuroprosthesis, a connection between electrodes and nerve cells. The cochlear implant consists of two parts. The external part looks like a large hearing aid. It contains several microphones, energy supply, and some electronic. The second part is surgically placed under the skin. And this cable, the electrode array, is introduced into the inner ear, into the cochlea, where it directly stimulates the hearing nerve. But the cochlear implant only works if the brain knows how to deal with this incoming information, if some sort of acoustic simulation has taken place, or if the device is placed very early in life, during the time where the nerves are connecting and multiplying. Fortunately, my brother had acoustic stimulation thanks to these large hearing aids at the beginning that became smaller over time. But again, it required a lot of effort and training for more than a year because 12 electrodes replace 1,000 of these receptor cells. Over time, he learned to interpret sound, understand language, and was even able to talk on the phone. This enabled him to found his own company and become an independent entrepreneur. I became redundant as translator, thankfully. But this experience paved my path and fueled my enthusiasm for ear surgery and especially cochlear implantation. Now, I can help many patients breaking the silence and connecting to the hearing world. And from my journey, I have learned 3 things. Remain persistent and courageous. Take a path less traveled if you're convinced that is the right one for you. And work hard for your belief. Then, technology may suddenly emerge and open up new possibilities that were previously unimaginable. And finally, with that in mind, our society needs to stick to and expand the concept of inclusion for people who are different. Thank you.